Ever wondered how to maintain consistency in podcasting? It's one of the most crucial aspects, yet often overlooked. Consistency in podcasting is not just about regular uploads. It's about delivering quality content, episode after episode. A podcast's success isn't measured by the number of episodes, but by the value it provides to its listeners. But here's the rub. Maintaining consistency is no walk in the park. Podcasters often grapple with challenges such as creating a sustainable content schedule, consistently coming up with engaging topics, and producing quality content can be demanding. Then there's the task of managing expectations, your own and those of your audience. Striking a balance between what you want to deliver and what your listeners expect can be tricky. And let's not forget about avoiding burnout, a common issue when you're constantly in the grind of content creation. In this video, we'll discuss several strategies to keep your podcast running smoothly. A well-organized content schedule is the backbone of any successful podcast. Sounds simple, right? Well, let's delve into it a bit further. Planning ahead is paramount. It's the difference between a podcast that thrives and one that barely survives. A regular posting schedule not only keeps your audience engaged, but also helps you stay on track. Consistency is key, my friends. It's like a promise to your listeners. They know when to expect a new episode and they'll be eagerly waiting for it. So, how do you plan out a content schedule? Well, start by brainstorming content ideas. This might seem daunting at first, but there are plenty of avenues to explore. One approach is to ask for listener input. After all, your listeners are your audience, and who better to tell you what they want to hear? Another strategy is to do regular industry news updates. This not only keeps your content fresh and relevant, but it also positions you as a thought leader in your field. Now let's talk about batch recording. This is a glorious technique that can save you from last-minute scrambles. Instead of recording one episode at a time, why not record several in one go? This way, you're not just ahead of the game, but you also have a buffer for those unexpected hiccups life tends to throw at us. And once you've got your content ready, consider scheduling your posts in advance. This helps maintain that regular posting schedule we talked about earlier. Plus, it gives you peace of mind knowing that your next episode is ready to go live, even if you're on vacation or dealing with a surprise event. Remember, a good podcast isn't just about great content. It's also about delivering that content in a consistent and reliable manner. That's where a well-organized content schedule comes into play. With a solid content schedule, you'll always know what's coming up next on your podcast. And more importantly, so will your listeners. Keep them in the loop, and they'll keep coming back for more. Managing your own expectations, as well as those of your listeners, is crucial in podcasting. Why, you ask? Well, imagine you're an artist painting a masterpiece, but your audience expects a sculpture. No matter how beautiful your painting is, if it's not what they expected, they might not appreciate it. Same goes for podcasting. You need to align your goals with what your audience anticipates. And that begins with setting realistic goals. You might want to produce a podcast episode every single day, but is that feasible? Or more importantly, is it sustainable? You don't want to start off at a sprint, only to burn out a month down the line. So, set achievable targets. Maybe start with a bi-weekly episode, then gradually increase the frequency if you can manage it. Next, let's talk about clear communication. Your listeners aren't mind readers. If you're changing your posting schedule or content format, they need to know. Regular updates keep your audience in the loop and help manage their expectations. You could use social media, newsletter, or even a brief mention in your podcast episode to update your listeners about any changes. Let's not forget about content. If your podcast is about technology, and suddenly you start discussing cooking recipes, your audience might feel a bit confused, or even cheated. Stick to your niche. If you really want to explore new topics, consider starting a new podcast, or a separate segment within your existing one. And finally, be honest about sponsorships or ads. If you're promoting a product or service, let your audience know. Transparency fosters trust, and trust is key in maintaining a loyal listener base. Remember, managing expectations isn't about lowering standards or compromising on your vision. It's about being realistic, open, and honest, and aligning your goals with your audience's expectations. By managing expectations effectively, you can avoid disappointment and keep your audience engaged. So keep setting those goals, keep communicating, and most importantly, keep podcasting. Podcasting is a marathon, not a sprint. It's important to avoid burnout. Think of it this way. Just as a marathon runner wouldn't start the race with a sprint, you shouldn't approach podcasting with the mindset of doing everything all at once. Overworking can lead to exhaustion, decreased creativity, and ultimately burnout. The dangers of burnout are real and can have serious impacts on your overall well-being, not to mention your podcast. It can lead to a drop in the quality of your content, inconsistent uploads, and can even result in a complete halt in your podcasting journey. So, how can you avoid this? Well, the first step is to acknowledge that it's okay to take breaks. Just as a marathon runner takes water breaks, you too need to pause and recharge. These breaks can be as simple as taking a walk, reading a book, or even just stepping away from your workstation for a bit. Next, consider delegating tasks. If you're a one-man show, this might seem impossible, but you'd be surprised by the resources available. There are many online platforms that offer freelance services for editing, transcribing, or even researching for your podcast. Lastly, maintaining a healthy work-life balance is crucial. This doesn't mean you have to quit your day job or sacrifice your personal life for your podcast. Instead, it's about finding a balance that allows you to pursue your podcasting passion without neglecting other important aspects of your life. It might be tempting to forego these steps in the name of productivity, but remember, the goal is consistency, not a one-time success. And consistency is achieved by maintaining a steady pace, taking care of your health, and ensuring you're not overworking yourself. So take that break, delegate tasks, balance your work and life, and keep that podcasting flame burning bright without burning out. Remember, a well-rested podcaster is a successful podcaster. Let's quickly recap what we've learned today. Consistency in podcasting is key. It's not just about churning out episode after episode, but doing so with a sustainable content schedule. This involves planning your topics, recording, and release dates in advance, and sticking to it. Managing expectations is another critical aspect. Remember, your audience grows to trust in your consistency, so don't promise what you can't deliver. It's better to under-promise and over-deliver than the other way around. Finally, we discussed avoiding burnout. It's essential to take care of yourself as you navigate the podcasting world. Make sure you balance your work with adequate rest and relaxation. Don't be afraid to take breaks when needed. By implementing these strategies, you'll be well on your way to maintaining consistency in your podcasting journey. Happy podcasting.